So, is there sound? Do you have sound? Why is there no robot? Fire this thing up. Oops. Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as Awol. And, well, we're still with the big project still. Although there's been a lot of progress since the last time we spoke. Um, Hang on one moment though. Let me get some music started and figure out why we don't have the chat bot. Uh, there it goes. Okay. That was really weird. All right, let's get some music. Cool, cool. All right, oops. Switch back to this, and there we go. All right. Well, hey, welcome. Sorry about the little delay there. Things got a little weird for a minute. Oh, hey, Rainbow. Can I just call you Rainbow Haze or Rainbow? I don't know. It's got to be a shorter way of saying it. Anyways, hello, welcome. Glad you made it. Glad you didn't wait since yesterday. He actually thought it was yesterday's. We were doing the live stream, so kind of almost wanted to prank her with the whole April Fool's thing, but no, glad we didn't. Let's see where to start. Man, so many things going on. Okay, so I think this is the photo I was using the last time and was explaining that I had worked down that lower section on the right and was started up on the top. Well, this is 18 tassels down and we are in the area. Okay, go back to this one. See how like there's like a upper area, you know, that's sort of working on. That's what we're working on now. So just to the left of those 18 tassels is this little segment. I've got 3 of them done and 3 more, which is basically kind of where we were last week, except for one whole segment. Now, when I say segment, what I'm basically referring to is you have the white X here and the white X here, right? So if you don't count both, obviously it's one piece. So there's 6 diamonds and they make up a segment, and then it'll repeat again. So it'll go to where the next white one is. So those are the segments. There are 9 segments in all, which makes it should be 54 diamonds if you're on this row, 53 when you're on this row because of the way the corners sort of work out. So 53 diamonds. We have 18 of them in tassels already. So that means once I get this other one down, it'll be 24. I'll be just about to the halfway point, which, because it's kind of working diagonally, I'm pretty sure it does sort of cross over the halfway thing. So that's where we're at so far. Let me remind you though, in case that everybody's forgotten, that we still have secret word game. This is the longest lasting secret word game that we've ever had. It's insane. So if you're a longtime follower of the channel, you know that the secret word game, the first time was Rapunzel, which was in reference to what I call the bags, because there's so much string and I wore it like on my head, and yeah, it was kind of ridiculous. So that was the first one, was Rapunzel. The next one, what was the next one? Remember? Oh, caffeinated because I drink bunches of coffee and or sodas and stuff to try to keep myself energized into doing the works themselves. So those were the first 2, and it also had to do with this pattern basically stemmed from a project of mine that was called Highly Caffeinated, which was basically built around the colors and stuff from a coffee company here, Bacha, and I liked how they used their colors and the motif or whatever of their stuff. So I tried to mimic that a bit in my bracelet work, and then from there decided, wow, you know what? Wouldn't it be awesome to just take that and go full on big scale? And there we are now. So yeah. Oh wait, we got more people. Charity made it. Yay. And Gothic. Awesome. Well, hello everybody. Welcome back. I think you guys missed the thing about like how far it is. This was taken, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday, and we are working in the segment just up to the left of where those tassels are. So that's kind of what we're doing right now, is that area. And basically what I'll do is I will finish this little area here and then shift the whole project up and over so I can concentrate down there. Because it really comes down to the fact that I've added so much string that if I try to just lay all that long string all over my desk, I am going to get my string in a bunch. It's just that easy. So by kind of breaking this off in segments, I'm actually saving myself a lot of headache and hassle. And mind you, if I was higher up in the project, I really couldn't do it. But seeing as how I'm getting closer to the end, I kind of can. Plus, what you can't see is there's a large amount of work that's going up and over and behind the clipboard, which is really getting in the way of doing anything. I have a decent sized desk, but it's really proving to be this really big challenge on how I get the strings onto how I get the whole work onto the board itself. Honestly, what I have to do is, behind me is the airplane trolley. I have to set the easel on the trolley, put the whole work roughly where I want it, kind of fold it around, and then work to shape the whole project to be able to put it back onto my desk without too much going wrong, so yeah. Hang on, I'm sort of lost track. I didn't watch the comments here. Yeah, it is hilarious that nobody has won yet. I mean, honestly, I told you this time it wasn't going to be like Rapunzel, where it was like this really difficult word to spell. This was going to be something a whole lot easier for you guys, Let's see. Yeah, I saw your post about your friend and the balloon that you launched. I saw that. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Okay, so hey, let's back to the knots. Yeah, I honestly have been really struggling with focus and stuff. I know that I talk sometimes about my ADHD and kind of want people to understand that like it's not abnormal to have things like this, right? But it's been a real thing of trying to stay focused and not, get distracted with web things. And I have like all kinds of other interests like art and doodling and pens and inks and all kinds of stuff, right? So I just kept finding myself really, really distracted. But I wanted to at least get this far because this is where we were a segment over to the side, but this is where we were last week. And if I could get to this point where we are right this very moment, I kind of felt like, cool, if we looked at this as being like a segment per week, I'll be at 3.5 now out of the 9. So yeah, this kind of gives us an idea as to like how long it'll be before we're finished. But mind you, not this week, the week after, I'm going to be slowed down because it's my wife's birthday and we're going to go do something nice for that. So there'll be a few days where I'm not doing any knots. I'll be spending my time with my wife. So that'll slow things down just a little bit, but it kind of gives us an idea, ballpark-ish, as to how many weeks there are left of this big project. And I say this because like with great enthusiasm, because I'm really looking forward to getting on to some of the other projects I plan on doing. That said, that reminds me, okay, so somebody found me on one of the Facebook bracelet making whatevers, and they were going through, and they must have found all my old video shares that I had done, and it made me realize that like I really have done a number of bags as far as tutorials go, but the one thing that I have learned, and this happened last week, is that I may have not been really clear on some of the instructions. Let me rephrase that, because that's not really clear. I may have been clear on the instructions, but I may have not explained how the smaller bags that I was producing are the same as a bigger bag, with the only difference as to how many of the loops or how many strings you put into it to making the bag, right? So if you're ambitious and you want to make something really, really big, you can still look at the smaller bags, how I put it together, how I did the base, how all of it goes together. You can use this same exact method. All you have to do is, instead of the 6 loops that it might have, maybe use 12, right? And then you'll have doubled the circumference, which makes a more sizable bag, not huge. To get toward the bigger ones, you probably right around 36 loops. If you go off the same math or whatever I used with the smaller bags, right, you'll get to a decent sized bag at that point. However, when you do add on that much more string to go around, in order to make the bag sort of proportional, you will have to most likely add strings like I've been doing here, right? And if you have problems with that, just say so, and I will slow down while I'm adding on the strings to show you it. But that's really all it comes down to, is like everything that was in those small bags is the same exact formula to doing it larger. It's the bases are the same, everything is the same. And I did a whole series, like there's a whole playlist for double wides showing how to do some basic double wides to how to do some really complicated ones where it's like 2 different bracelets all together that are joined as one solid piece. So those are more options as to how to do the bag. Like the 2 different bracelet join thing, that is exactly the kind of process I used when making my pouch for my sister, right? It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 different patterns, I think. 4 or 5 different patterns all in one little bag, because some of them double up. It's like there's something down the middle and then 2 flanking it, all right, that are the same. So, you know, it's like 5 different patterns all making up one little bag. That's an option. That's something that if you are solid with your patterns, if you know kind of what you're doing, it's something you could obviously put together. And that's a kind of the point with most of my teachings is, if you learn the basics, if you learn how to make the shapes, you learn how to make a tube, once you have that skill down, the possibilities of what you can put together are endless. And I truly believe that. Like, I tried to make different kind of bag tops and stuff. I did some where it's a diamond, you know, like how these lines here kind of go, and then had a loop at the bottom where a button holds it. I did flat ones. I did bags where there's no flap to it at all. They just draw strings together. I tried doing all these different kinds of styles to kind of show what was possible. My wife's bag, the red, blue, orange one, that one is a really long strip of bracelets, and then there's like a spot where there's just like, I just did a slit going either direction, and then when I join that whole big long piece around, and then I tapered it inwards. So then she ended up with a bag that's a cylinder. It's sideways cylinder. So that one turned out really, really well. That, unfortunately, I don't have the math involved for how to necessarily do it. It's kind of a trial and error. And I do go into like my explanation, like how I do it in a number of the videos, but it really comes down to if you take one string that's traveling and you tie it over two pieces, you can make it get smaller. And it's about kind of working at, like, if I'm coming across here, right, and I've got these two. Can I zoom? Let's see. Is this zoom? If I go over top of these two here, I've reduced the number of strings going in this direction by one. You know, and if you kind of know how many strings there are in your circumference, let's say there's 100, how much do you need to reduce it so that way you've come in a little bit? Probably have to reduce it by like 10%. So knowing that, you can kind of, you know, or maybe it's 20%. But knowing the math involved kind of helps you to kind of shape it. And then it's really kind of starts to have to go off a feel. If you're not look really spread apart and they're not pulling in tight, then you're reducing too quickly. If the thing is starting to come outwards, more egg-shaped, then you're not reducing fast enough. And that's essentially how I did it. And here, speaking of the adding strings, we're going to do that now. So I'm going to put on half the knot there. Reach up here, grab me some string. I put string by the chair here tonight so that way I didn't have to get up too much. All right, so I have the string folded in half, even at the ends. Here's my loop. I'm going to put that around the string that's not moving, slide that over to the side, and complete the knot. Now I kind of lay that short one off to the side, and I take the new long one and I start tying my knot and lay the short one going across, and then I finish the knot. And just doing that little step right there, short one out of the way, first half with the long one, lay the short one across. Just doing that like 3-4 times is enough to really lock that little tail in place to where even if you run this thing through a washing machine, it doesn't come out. And that's good enough for me. I don't think there's any kind of abuse more than a washing machine when it comes to our works. So, and I just take, and I got a hole in my clipboard just for the sole purpose of pushing the short ends out of my way so I don't accidentally tie them in or do something with them. Mind you, I could take a pair of scissors and just snip that thing off right at this moment, but I kind of like to do that all at once. Like there's a whole bunch of strings underneath here that need to be cut, and I like to do it kind of all at once. It's just a little bit more time saving, as well as it kind of prevents me from accidentally cutting one of these, because I'll have worked my way down and those things will be up higher. All right. Another string going in the other direction. So one of the things too about adding the string, I'm kind of glazed over as I just did the last one, is that when I add the string, I need to add it in the direction that we're going, right? So this goes off this way because that's the way the knot is going. If I add it off to the other side and I've finished tying on the knot, then this will cross over top and it won't look right. It won't blend in. So that's kind of an important thing that I kind of glossed over, and I apologize. I'm just so used to this stuff that sometimes if people don't ask me a question, I may not realize the parts that I'm missing. So that's why questions are important. No, I did not see a lava lamp. That sounds fun. Yeah, I've made a lot of progress on this. I'm really excited. There's 18 tassels already, which is so much. Basically, when I finish this area here, I will be working on these 6 rows, which will bring me up to 24. Which, so half of 53 is like 26, right? 26 and a half. So at the 24 point, I will be roughly halfway, which I'm really supposed to. Yeah, I'll have to look. I didn't see it. I love lava lamps. That was like, my mom got one when I was a kid because of the whole ADHD thing, trying to get me to slow down and not be all bouncing off the walls and whatever, like a maniac. So she got us a lava lamp, believe it or not. Oh, it's the glitter kind. Okay. The glitter ones are sort of neat. I actually like the old school lava lamps, honestly, like the blobs. My favorite part, and this is true. My mom had to like try to learn how to time it for me coming home from school. My favorite part was when the wax is just starting to get warmed up enough that it starts making the like pillars and not quite getting into the blobby part yet. Like, oh my god, those I don't know why, but I just love that. And then watching it slowly start to melt in and stuff, and yeah, that was my favorite part. Wow, what a happy memory. Thank you. I didn't know that. Really? Because the amount of heat that it took to fire up the wax or something? Is that why? I did not know they were a fire hazard. Yeah, I've often thought like, like a lava lamp would be another something cool. Like, I don't know if you guys can see all the different lighting effects I have behind me, but I kind of wanted to make it interesting. So I have a number of small lights that kind of light up everything. Plus Inspire's right here. Got that lit up. Um But yeah, I always thought a lamp would be another cool addition to the whole office thing. But if it's a fire hazard, I guess I'll pass. I guess, I guess the '70s were a lot more reckless. We had things that were cool but dangerous. Yeah, I can get the whole kids hurting themselves. Like I may have like noticed it was too hot and like, but I also think that it's important the kids learn. Oh, touch a hot thing, ouch, that hurts. They don't do it again. That's just part of growing up, you know? You can tell a kid to not touch the stove, but it'll never stick quite as much as the kid that burns his hand on a pot. Like, see, told you. You know, thinking about it, I've got a great big acrylic vase that I could run an air pump thingy like they have for fish tanks into there, so that would get it bubbling. I could put various kinds of glitter in there so they would be kind of rocking around in it, and with the light from underneath it, I bet you it would look kind of like those other lava lampy things, but be really, really kind of different. That'd be fun. Yeah, my sister had the glitter kind, and yeah, definitely mesmerizing, and definitely hazardous for somebody like me who gets caught up in looking at things and daydreaming and drifting off or whatever. Um, hey, how much did you accomplish today? Oh, I looked at a light for hours. and and that's being truthful. Like that's, yeah, that could totally happen. So, anything else going on with you guys? Like, kind of curious. Oh, wait, I had something else to do. Oh, yeah. So, kind of forgot. Oh, hey, Amanda. Hello. Kind of forgot. I went through a bunch of floss since last week, so we're now up to 805 skeins, and um, I noticed that the amount of reds that I have left was really, really low. Now I did a bunch of math to try to see like one skein equals 3 strands and blah blah blah, and tried to figure out whether or not I have enough to make it to the end. And it does look like I do, but it also looks like I'm going to be getting to the end really by the skin of my teeth kind of thing, which was kind of what was intended when we were doing the math to figure out like how much string was needed. But I never like that anxiety that comes from the worry that I could run out. So that's, yeah, it's scary. So yeah. So welcome, Amanda. Reminder, we still have this going. Please, one of you guys, figure it out. It's got to do with an old video of mine. Right? That clue alone should just make you guys go, "Oh, got it." It's it's an old video of mine. And it's not fish tanks, and it's not, oh, I don't know what else there was back then. There was a weird test video, remember that? Yeah. Um Floss chicken, is there, yeah, it's the same with crocheting, right? 'Cause there's the crocheting, it's a game of chicken when you're trying to see if whether or not you have enough yarn to make it to the end. Mind you, I don't know how to crochet, but I follow it on Reddit. I like seeing what people are making. It's a craft that I'm interested in, so. Yeah, old video. There's your clue. There's today's clue. Old video. Yeah, yarn chicken. That's what I thought it was called. That's what made me think about it. Like, that's right. Yeah. Oh, believe me, I will. Honestly, you have no idea. I would freak out. It would totally be devastating. My alarm just went off. I forgot to take my meds early before the video, so just give me a moment here while I quick do that. Well, for me, I know that if I change out my strings at this row here, I have enough to make it to the end, right? So knowing how many diamonds there are tells me how many strings I at the most would need to replace. And with all that math involved, I can actually calculate out whether or not the game of chicken, if I'm going to win. Mind you, there is, when it comes to the strings, there's twice as many oranges and blues as there are to the reds. So as a result, when we're purchasing them, we bought twice as many of the oranges and blues as we did the reds. That said, seeing that the red is almost out should also be an indicator that despite that, feeling like there's enough oranges and blues still, it too is likely to be really run out by the time we get to the end of this thing, which is kind of comforting and scary at the same time. Like, we should be fine, but then it's not. Right. What was that video, Amanda? Actually, do you guys know that there is a difference between time lapse and stop motion? Right? So time lapse is you'll see my hand still in there doing things and it's all flashy and you see like, right? In stop motion, it's my hands get out of the way and actually snap a picture. So that's a big difference. Amanda, you are so close. You have no idea. You're driving me insane. This is like the whole spelling Rapunzel wrong. This is... Oh, that reminds me. Rainbow, you met a celebrity cross-stitcher. And I had to ask, was he funny? And the reason I asked, was he funny? This was meant to be a wind-up for a good one. Was I thought he would have you in stitches. Yes, there was the time-lapse test one. That was the very first, right? But it wasn't even really time-lapse. That was actually stop motion. You're really warm. You're really, really warm. That video did not get nearly the love. That was a fun video. That was like, what, 30 seconds worth of like me just flipping string around? That was fun. Anyways. Oh. Cinema class sounds fun. Well, talking online is still sort of meeting him. You met me through the internet. So it counts. He was not funny. Still in stitches though, right? Hey honey, can you look up that one video just so I know what the actual numbers were on it? Just use your phone. The one that's gonna win somebody 3 things. So 165? Seems like we should have a club for people whose memory sucks. Of course, we'd never remember to like to join together when it's game time. Oh, speaking of joining together, yeah. Button. That one. Patreon people, this is the beginning of the month already. So no April Fool's joke here. We actually have a hangout for tomorrow. Same time, it starts 10 p.m. my time, and we can hang out and talk about pretty much anything. It's fun. It should be a lot of fun. So yeah, hopefully you guys can make it. Wow. So like I didn't realize there was that many test video. 163? Okay. So I think some of the test videos were sound. I think that was me playing around. I can't remember what, pedal effects or some kind of sound effects with guitars or ukuleles or something, but yeah, there was a time lapse, and it probably just put in time lapse like for the first one, like trying it, not knowing of course that it wasn't in fact time lapse. Like somebody corrected me later on. It was different times for sure. I honestly think if I had stayed with making videos back then and listened to people, I'd probably have this tremendously huge following, because there it is. Pink. Pink was the magic word. Oh my God. Yay. Oh, wow. That took forever. Yes, it was Pink Bracelet with 163,000 views, which makes me go unbelievable. Like out of all my videos, that is the most viewed, and it shows up all the time on on like Rainbows has shown me, like on her feed, how that's like a recommended video. Why? I have no idea. It was just a stop motion thing. I went to a hardware store, Home Depot, and I bought a bunch of gas pipe and some screws and all this other just whatever. Like the guy thought I'd lost my mind, but he understood what I was after. And I just built this monstrosity that held up a camera. I think that camera was like a 1.3 megapixel, like just like the worst. And every time I tied a knot, and I have to reach up and then hit the button on the camera. There was no pedals or no anything else. And that's why you don't see my hands in it at all. Oh my God. That thing took forever. Just a simple basic bracelet. And there must have been so many people that ended up asking. And mind you, I wasn't even into YouTube at the time. But there's so many people asking for how to do the pattern or do a tutorial and stuff. And had I listened, I honestly, truly believe I would have been a huge name in bracelet making, because it would have started back when, you know, when YouTube was a whole lot easier, and the algorithm, it was less whatever mean to people like myself. Like I seriously, I don't get nearly enough views. Like if I get that many views on any one of my more recent videos, we'd be talking a whole boatload of money, and there'd be giveaways all the time. So yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, so there you go. It was in your feed too. So it was the pink bracelet. It was pink was the magic word. I was thinking starting to do stuff like, oh, I'm all better from COVID. My health is in the what color is that? You know. But then I'm like, no. Like it was really like I couldn't find a way of doing a clue that wasn't like totally just give it away kind of thing. And I, like I said, this time the spelling wasn't going to be a problem. Like, who can't spell pink? Right. No, I don't think it's too late. I just think that it would have gone a whole lot differently. Like, it's, you know, there was a lot of people really interested in it back then. That's crazy. Yeah. Pink, not said for 6 months. Has it really been 6 months? It was what? November, December. Ah. So Amanda, you need to get a hold of Rainbow Haze through private chats to pass along the address, so that way she can mail the stuff off to you. And congratulations, that's fantastic. I'm definitely pleased for you. Yeah, yeah. That's why I kept thinking it's like I caffeinated, right? That's a hard one. Like, that's a big word, and who's gonna say it, right? But pink, I'm like, somebody's bound to say that, I don't know. I just thought the word would be a whole lot easier. And here we went with the longest secret game ever. Oh my God. That's right. As a Gothic person, I would imagine Gothics don't do pinks much, but yeah. Uh, cool. Insane. Oh, and that'll make. Oh, I just realized, Amanda, that's so funny. That makes the one bracelet, the one that I made. Let's go to image 5 here. The one on the right is more traveled during these pandemic times than myself, because that thing has traveled all the way from Singapore all the way to the UK, and now will be making its way back. Uh, Phew. So I'm incredibly happy that we finally have a winner, but now I'm like, what will the next word be? I have no idea. I have to come up with something before next week. Oh, and Patreon people, thank you for your patience. I have not gotten around to putting together the newsletter. Well, technically, my wife does most of the work. She asked me for things like images and picking a winner and stuff, but I haven't gotten around to actually taking a look, and I have to put everybody's names back into the whole little like draw thingy. Like, I put everybody's names in like a numerical whatever, and then let the randomizer pull the number, and that tells me who wins. So I need to go do all that stuff. Been meaning to do it. Did I mention I get distracted easily? We are 18 down out of 53. That means there's what, like 35? But we're working on this segment here, which is almost done. And then I get to move down there, which will give me 24 down, 24 out of 53. Yeah, right? I agree. Especially when we know that there's not that long left in this project, and it's quite possible. we'll have to decide, based on the people, what everybody says. But I was honestly thinking that once the big project was over with, we might go back to actually doing videos as opposed to live streams. But we'll see how that kind of goes, because I kind of do enjoy the feedback and being asked questions, with when Amanda was talking about the bags and stuff or whatever. I kind of got me really thinking about like what was in those videos. Which, Amanda, I think I may have been talking about it before you got here. A lot of so somebody went liking a bunch of my old videos over on Facebook, and I realized that a lot of my smaller bags were meant to be demonstrations that could be scaled up. And I guess maybe wasn't really super clear about that in those videos, so maybe that's my fault, and maybe I have to reshoot some small bags again to explain that if you can do it with 6 loops, you can do it with 12. So yeah, that's kind of a thing. So Gothic, a wrist brace like the carpal tunnel ones, the one that kind of comes like this, is that because my sister used to have those. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope they help. That's no joke. Carpal tunnel is no good. So one of the things I know about carpal tunnel is drummers and people, and various things that use their hands, use their wrists and stuff a lot, were getting it. And one of the biggest things they talked about was how tightly you hold on to something. So a drummer that can hold his sticks loosely and occasionally has one go flying out of his hands is less likely to get carpal tunnel versus somebody who holds them super tightly. So as you're working your crochet hook or knitting needles, you have to kind of check yourself to make sure that you're not gripping onto it with, the iron fist of, kind of just hold it loosely in your hand, and that'll help prevent some of the trouble. Let me move my drink out of the way. I think these things help out a lot too. These ones are made out of marble. There's metal ones and stuff, but just rolling these things around in my hands tends to kind of loosen things up in that area. So I can't guarantee that it'll work, but this is what helps me along. So yeah. You guys have to forgive me. My sinuses are just going crazy here. I've been having all kinds of trouble since the COVID with dry eyes and just stuff going on with my nose. So if I sound a little nasally or,
if I sound a little weird,
please bear with me. I don't mean to. I've got the Vicks inhalers. Backing away from the mic so that way you don't hear the whole, So tomorrow we have the get together thing, and this is gonna, oh man, I already know one of the things we're gonna be talking about. Tomorrow is my dad's helper's day off, and those are the days where Mandy and I both have to keep an eye on him. We don't, the helper is what makes it able for me to sleep in on most every day. You know, I stay up really late, but I also get up kind of late. And the helper is the reason why, you know, that's even possible. But tomorrow, everything starts really, really early in the morning, and it's about telling dad, nope, she's not here. Nope, you can't go through her stuff. Nope, you know, there's no extra snacks for you. Um, he always thinks that like if somebody isn't around, then that's when you get up to, hey, can't I eat more? And stuff. So it gets really weird. Right, right, right. I've seen those ones. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing. So Amanda, you're right. I am going to do a whole thing on the cushion covers, as well as I really kind of want to go into this pattern in some different ways, because this is seriously, as soon as I learned how to do a left knot, right? Because all I could do is going to the right. As soon as I learned how to do a left knot, this pattern basically was born. And it's through this pattern that I think I can teach people how to be able to make a bracelet doing segments without having to write anything down on paper. Like if I show you how I originally did it and then show you some variations on it, I think there's, you know, room for a whole little segment on just some simple bracelets. It'll be a lot of fun for me to revisit, because I used to love that pattern. That was a great pattern. Mind you, if you do this pattern and you only do it in one like single little row, you'll, and mind you, this is back in the late 80s. The green would come all the way straight across here to here, because you don't have, I wasn't changing every single time. It looks like a fish. And then I saw it like on the back of a car with somebody in it, you know, they had the little fish symbol. I'm like, why do they have a fish on their back of their car? And I found out like it's a Jesus thing or something, right? So it's the Jesus fish. But that, to me, this pattern, like everybody talks about the dovetail or whatever, but to me, originally this pattern was the fish pattern. And that's, I know that seems completely ridiculous, but you got to understand, this is before internet, before you know, you had peers and other people already naming stuff. But to me, that's always going to be the fish pattern. And yeah, it's going to be kind of fun to kind of explore how differently you can actually do that one. Yeah, no, Dad will not be joining us for the hangout. He's actually no good at that kind of stuff. We did a video call to his wife, who had suffered a number of strokes, and basically mom can't talk, and we wanted to see whether or not we could invoke any response on her face by her seeing her husband and stuff. So we were telling Dad that, you know, mom can't talk, but she can see you, you know, you can talk to her. And yeah, it did not go well. It really, he lacks the imagination. He can't see, so he's sort of trying to eyeball the screen, and he can't figure out why she's not responding, despite the number of times that we've told him that she physically just can't do it. Yeah, it was kind of grim. I can just imagine, hey Dad, here we are with a bunch of friends, say hi, you know. Just don't think that would work. It's comical to think about, but anyway. Now by that time the helper will be back, and we can kind of settle down, and it'll be kind of nice to relax after a hectic day. Right. Yeah, that's the plan. That's exactly the plan. Like how that one's beginning start and how it's can be super simple, why you don't even need paper or anything else to work it out, how it segments out itself like really naturally, how to use the edges of the bracelet as this string reaches the edge, the next one doesn't. There's a whole lot of little things that would actually make it kind of interesting, I think. And yeah, I'm really excited about that one. And because I'm going to start out with the bracelet version of it, then when I go to the full scale bag or not bag, the pillow that's made with the same pattern, it'll show how starting with something small and simple and getting to know it then can turn into something much, much bigger and much more intricate and much more, not just time consuming, but more something that you'll be really, really, I mean, not that you shouldn't be proud of a bracelet. Like, I don't want to diminish anything on people who make bracelets. That absolutely kudos. And, that's awesome. You don't have to be huge to get noticed. That said, what gives me the biggest dopamine rushes are when I do something big. Like just looking at how much has been done with this gives me such a high, and knowing that this thing's going to be finished and hung up on my wall, and that my friends and family and whomever is going to see this and know that it was me. That's yeah, I love it. I love the whole notion. And with my eyes being a problem right now, like that, I've been having to do eye drops a few times a day. I realized, like, oh man, if I lose my eyes, that would be really, traumatic and stopping bracelets because I can't see well enough to do it. At least it'd be nice to have this out of the way, because at least I'll have the one monstrosity to be able to say, yeah, well, back in my day I could. So yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, I definitely give a lot of props to the people like who are just starting out and who are just getting the chevrons down and stuff. I got tagged in a bracelet recently on Instagram where the person just went buck wild, like absolutely did not follow any pattern whatsoever. Things are going all over the place, and then towards the end it started to go into some kind of a pattern. Like I don't know that they meant to kind of go that way at first, but then it started looking kind of cool and they kind of stuck with it. And I realized like those were like my early days of bracelet making. Those were trying to go really crazy with it and then realizing like, oh wait, I like something, an element out of it. Let me play with that element and see what kind of, if I can make a whole bracelet off of that. And a lot of my really early ones, that's exactly how it went, so yeah. And I definitely encourage people to try that kind of thing. I think it makes it makes something you'll be really pleased with in the end, I think. Hang on, I need to grab a white strand. This is short and better to replace it now. Right. Well, yeah, I think there's definitely room for like stuff for the beginners, and there's a lot of videos out there for the beginners. I have done searches to see what other video titles and stuff were doing well, kind of thing, and there's a lot of stuff for beginners out there. There's not a lot sadly, there's a lot of people who lean towards like if the pattern's kind of complicated, that's all right. All you got to do is just break it down row by row by row and just figure out which direction that particular one was, which does not help you at all when it comes to trying to work out a segment area or anything. It's probably the worst way to possibly do it, but somewhere along the lines, a bunch of people got in their heads that this was somehow an acceptable, decent way of getting it done. And for me, it absolutely stifles all creativity. The only thing that you'll ever be able to do if you follow it that way is follow somebody else's pattern. And you won't even realize like how your creativity is being killed, but it does. It certainly does. And so that's why I basically a lot of my approach has been about enabling a person to be able to see how a pattern works and how to approach it so that it'll be easier. You'll see how the pattern was made, and then you can go on to creating your own. And I think that's kind of a right. Yeah. They, right. Showing how to start it. And that's, yeah, I know for a fact I've covered a lot of that in my, trying to show exactly. And I even went and did some videos about different ways of starting it, like how to create different loops and how to, like how on my tassels, how I bring all the strings together so that way it's nice and smooth. And back in the day, I would just grab the whole group and just, braid it off or whatever. I didn't do that extra little loop around thing. And it didn't look as nice. And every time I saw something or was either figured it out or was inspired by somebody else's, I always go for like, what is the nicest looking way of doing it? Well, so Amanda, if you took almost any of the bracelets that you're currently working on and you ran them through the graph paper that I have over on my website, right? If you started to put it in any of the even if you did the simple, like this one, even if you try putting this into that graph paper, what it is so the diamonds, regular graph paper is like this, right? Straight lines going across. My graph paper goes diagonally, just like the bracelets. But what really makes it is the center dot is the color of the string, right? So in this case, it's green, or here it's yellow, right? So, but then you can see what the color is of the string that's running underneath it, right? So like this is the green, and the green comes all the way through. But so it's green coming from both sides, right? Because I can actually follow the line down and see where it is. So it's green coming from both sides. Then you got yellows from both sides. Underneath that yellow is the green. Underneath this yellow is the other green. All right. Once you can see how the strings are traveling, you can kind of see where you might make a change. Like in this case, right? We started with the dots. This is the top, right? So I started with doing the chevrons this way, but you could do the chevrons the other way around. You could have started with the long lines and then have the dots down at the bottom. It still turns out the same. And when you see the strings underneath, you'll see the strings still stay in the same order. It's just which ones get the knots first. And just being able to see how that works and see what's going on underneath led to so many, like I said, I try to do a chain link one. And if you look at my old things that I made, you'll see like there is, like the chain link one was like 4 loops wide, and it was whatever. And then it wasn't long after that, because I had been playing around with the graph paper, that I suddenly dawned on me like, oh wait, it doesn't have to be like this. It could actually be something almost simple, and made a skinnier bracelet out of the chain link. And then like the first one, it didn't start out very nice, and then the one after that, I fixed the problem. And that's all from a little trial and error, a little bit of whatever, made it work. I got an orange that's short here. I gotta change out an orange. Yeah, making the like I said, making the patterns. An interesting method that I've taught in the past is to, if you know how to make a diamond, right? You can go down to the edge and bounce it back, and then go down to the edge and bounce it back, right? So you can make a diamond. A diamond will reverse the string order exactly like this diamond right here, right? What it started out at the top and what it has at the bottom is a complete reverse of the strings orders. So if you can do that, you can go completely crazy on the first half of the bracelet. When you get to where you're at the halfway point, right? Put the diamond in. It's just slightly before halfway because the diamond takes up space. And then try to do what you did going the other direction, right? Doing the reverse of it. And it'll make a whole lot of like memory recall, like, wait, which went this way, what went this way. It's a huge task. It's so difficult. And yet doing it, you are forced to look at how strings move in different directions. You're forced because you're trying to, if you did a zigzag at one point, you have to do the opposite zigzag on the other half. And it really makes the whole thought process, it's so much work. It's so challenging, but it's so rewarding at the same time. Yeah, I don't put on paper. Those were just, and I don't know that I was necessarily on those bracelets. Like I gave a lot of those away. Like that was like 87, 88, that I was experimenting with that. But I don't think I actually got a lot of the color copies or the black and white copies of those even. I one time tried to use a bracelet generator. I don't know what it was. It was a long time ago. It was trying to enter the bracelet into the braceletthing.net or whatever. And it was basically the pattern that I used in a number of my bags, the red and black bag that I always pull over here. And the machine rejected it after I spent, God knows how much time I spent putting it in there, but the thing rejected it. And that's why I've never used those again, never tried. Was like, if I'm going to spend all that time putting it together and the machine's going to go, yeah, I don't think so. And it's maybe because it doesn't start and end the same way, because it's sort of, I'll show you the pattern. Because the start and the end are different. I don't know. I don't know what part of the machine didn't like, but I don't know why my camera also doesn't like it. That blows out the colors of the reds. This looks terrible. Anyways, yeah. Are you implying that I am old as well? Is that where you're going with that, Rainbow? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that anything I've ever created, somebody else has gone to the trouble of managing to add it to those things. I don't know why certain people are into trying to fill the machine with as much whatever as possible. Some of the nuances on some of the patterns don't make any sense at all. Like I've taken some of the patterns I've seen over on Instagram and realized, like, yeah, you can make it different or whatever on the edges, but in reality that's not necessary. It just messes with the whole whatever. Ah. While trying to grab a blue string, two more tried to join it, and then they kind of jumped off my finger and started heading towards the floor, which I caught them in mid-air and put them back up, all without getting them tangled up. My string has not gotten in a bunch. Yay me. Could you give me an end of the string? I have no idea why, but my nose is starting to itch and burn like I've been around a dog or something. I don't know why. But yeah. Well, Rainbow, you got a beach that's just a stone's throw away. Yeah, it might be the whole pollen thing. No, please say it's not true. It could be little fuzzies coming off the strings, but I don't know. Oh my god, if I got allergic to knots. Oh man. if if I become allergic to nodding, buy stock in Sudafed or what are those ones? What did I just take? Zyrtec. Buy stock in Zyrtec. Yeah. Well, I'm in the north. There we are, the beaches are really to the south. So yeah, there's no nice beach in the north, unless I go towards like Passaris, which is probably how long does it take us to get to Passaris Beach on bike? Yeah, probably a good hour on the bike to get there. And we can go without masks on. Hallelujah. We've finally been allowed to go outside without a mask. Mind you, to go inside to a restaurant or something, you need a mask up. But yeah, still have to wait a little bit before I'm allowed to, because having had COVID or whatever, you have to wait like I don't know how long before you can go do long ass bike rides. But yeah, definitely looking forward to the next big long bike ride. Okay. Did you catch that one, honey? My wife is currently checking the web. That's cool. Thank you. That's unfortunate. Yeah, I know. Well, my wife is having me stay cautious. I even been kind of I have a indoor bike from Decathlon, and she's even been keeping me from really hitting that thing hard yet. So, yeah. Yeah, so how bad are the restrictions there, Gothic? Aw. Yeah, we still have to wear masks indoors. It's the being able to go downstairs and check the mail without a mask. Mind you, I don't use the lift to go downstairs, right? So, because we're only on the second floor. So I can go down and check the mail without a mask on, which feels like this whole liberating woohoo kind of thing after 2 years of masks, but whatever. Yeah, I can't remember the UK thing that they had a party that, yeah. Only UK could like something like that happen and like the leaders actually be in actual trouble. Like if that happened in the US, they'd be like, "Oh, those guys. Oh, gee." You know. Like there's a whole scandal going on right now where one of the young Republicans has been supposedly invited to sex parties, essentially orgies, and drug-fueled orgies And nobody seems to be shocked at all by it. I mean, we're talking in America where Washington, D.C. has a mayor who was caught with hookers and cocaine, crack cocaine, in a hotel room. And he still got reelected. So, you know. The 20 parties. Party on. Good for 20 parties. Yeah, the scandals don't last long because they realize that if they just hit the media with something even more ridiculous the next day, then you forget the first one. And so it's just a steady stream of trying to be more ridiculous than the last time. And Trump, he was the best at that, man. He had so many things going on. So many times you're like, how can that even be a thing? That, yeah, I can't even name half of them anymore because there was just so much. Yeah, we had the whole vaccine demonstrate that you were vaxxed and had the update, the booster shot was a thing that we actually could show on our phones to be able to get into places, malls and things. Pretty clever. And then for the older people who didn't have phones, they had these little tokens like you put on your keychain, and had a little battery in there and Bluetooth, and yeah, that was pretty neat. So even old people who don't have phones still had a means. Plus, it kept track of the people that you were around. So if somebody you were around came down with COVID, it could give you a notification to let you know that you might want to get yourself checked. That was pretty cool. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Why you're shocked by that, Amanda, and why I am not, is because of how damn efficient Singapore is. When people over here complain about anything, I tell them, you guys have no clue. You have no idea what it's like here compared to the US. Like, yeah, for them to actually put together a committee to decide whether or not he was guilty of a thing, there's none of that nonsense here. Like, immediately it would be like, nope, you were caught red-handed doing something you're not supposed to do. Bam, we're gonna. It doesn't happen like that at all in the US, you know? And then you have to look for whether or not there were cases prior that set precedents as to whether or not, you know, an actual crime was committed. And it's so stupid. It's so dumb. Seems like a QR code could be faked. Like, it would be really easy to just like see what the QR code actually reads and then figure out, you know, how to print out one. I don't know. Mind you, I think Canada has a lot more people than Singapore, and possibly doing the method like we have here has probably been too expensive or something, but we even have little vending machines where if our battery dies on our little device, we can actually go and take it and trade it at a vending machine, which is pretty cool. Yeah, and they made it so that way people couldn't just show you the image. There's a little otter that swims back and forth, so that way it shows that it's a real thing from the device. So, like, yeah. True that. True that. Yeah, we have cameras and stuff everywhere, so it's not like we don't know where people have been. So, yeah. Yeah, they had a thing here for a while. Like, if you didn't have your booster shot, you couldn't go in the mall. So that was they were pretty serious about like what you could or could not do based on whether or not you have your jabs. I don't know how the new rules actually play out, to be honest, because I I'm like first in line as soon as they say, "Oh, you're available for another one." Okay, I'm going. Let's do that, because it's all about. For me, it's all about the statistics. Like, if it makes me 80% less likely to die or feel really sick, I'm all for it. Like, those are great odds. Like, those are the kind of odds. Like, if they told you you had that kind of a better chance of winning at the casino, everybody would be on board. But for whatever reason, a bunch of people don't see it like that when it comes to their health. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense. America couldn't unify its records if they wanted, honestly. You have one system to be able to get new recruits into your military, and you have a separate system that is for your veterans. And to hear the politicians explain why these two things don't work is that one's essentially written, it's like Xbox and PlayStation. They're just not at all compatible databases whatsoever. So if a person gets hurt in combat and ends up becoming a veteran, it might take them a couple of years before that information actually makes it into a computer base to where they can actually start receiving help. They may have stepped on a landmine, blown their legs off, and it'll take them years before the VA hospitals are ready to do anything for them. That's the kind of country America is. Here, there's pretty much one database for all the people, for all the things. Like, I'm pretty sure, based on how efficient they are with renewing the identification cards, driver's license, and passports, the ease at which Singaporeans get things done absolutely makes me wowed in by comparison to what any of the services. I was in the Navy. I know. It's America's just insane when it comes to their systems. And because certain what do they call the groups that try to push their agenda, whatever it is. So the NRA, the National Rifles Association, has made it so that way they won't vote to actually digitize the database for guns. So everybody that has a gun that you want to keep track of, like where these things go, there's the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Agency, which is like as big as the FBI or big as the other ones, right? All guns are, all the records are all on paper in these great big, it's so ridiculous. It is so backwards and dumb, but that's America. Like, that's, you just, after a while, you kind of get used to the fact that this greatest country in the world makes absolutely no sense. Yes, and that's why vets end up homeless. Yes. Yes. And they end up not getting the kind of psychological help that they need, or a lot of vets end up committing suicide just because they can't get any help and they can't go forward. It's really messed up. You guys have no idea. Like when Dad's helper was talking about, like she asked what was the number of COVID cases here in Singapore. And then she asked me what was it in my country. My country, this is my country now. I'm in Singapore. I have no intention of going back to that crazy backward system that they have. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Isn't that unfortunate? Yeah, on top of having fire drills, which like all schools have, just to make sure that you know in case of a fire. Yeah, actually having firearm drills. Yeah. They actually reversed a law, like I think it was during Trump's tenure, reversed a law that said that basically people with severe mental illness were not allowed to get guns. No, you're treading on their liberty. They're allowed to have guns. It's in the Constitution. Like, seriously. People with domestic violence issues in their records, yeah, they have no trouble going and getting a gun. It makes no sense. It's why so many spouses die every year. And what's the NRA's rationality about this? We need to sell guns to the women so they can protect themselves from their crazy husbands. So you have one more gun in the house. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. No, I have no problem with the fact that we don't have guns here. Yeah. And every single time that you have a mass shooting, every time there's like a school like Sandy Hook or whatever, the same exact rhetoric comes out. Now is the time for grieving. Now is not the time to work on legislation. If you wait a little bit, you'll just have another thing to grieve over. Why is it not now is a time? Why can't So this square finishes this row. We only have one more row and that'll complete this section. So this is some pretty good progress here tonight. Yeah. Oh, and to make America even more interesting, I should know the different agencies. I really don't. One of the health agencies or whatever was started to do tracking numbers on the number of people killed by guns, and basically the powers that be in the government threatened to take away their funding if they continued down that path. Yeah. No, there was just a recent big shootout in the US. I forget all the details, but there was like a car show or something, and yeah, it was a fundraiser for kids' school supplies, and it turned out into a big shootout. Like, could it be more American? And mind you, the only reason I kind of really keep track of anything, knowing that I have no intention of going back to the US, is only because I do have family there. So, yeah, I do. I am concerned for the well-being of my family. But yeah, but see, that's where if people with enough money come along and say, we don't want you to check that out because it'll damage gun sales, or cause people to actually question the laws and stuff, regulating guns and things like that. Like, those people make it so those laws weren't passed. Yeah, yeah. And mass shootings is what? When it's more than three people shot or something? Is that what defines the mass shooting? I know that, like, there's otherwise it's just a shooting, which there's tons of individual shootings every day. Like, those don't even like hit the radar because they're, oh, just one person died, no big deal. We got the news will run with the story with three instead. Because that's America. It's just, you have to understand, I'm from the Detroit area. Like, this is Detroit area back in the day, back in the 70s and 80s, was the murder capital of the United States. Like, we had more murders there going on all the time than anywhere else in the United States, right? So if I sound a little bit like over dramatic or whatever, you have to understand I'm from the place where it happened more. Mind you, I'm sure LA took a go at being the leader for a little while with the gangs and stuff out there, but yeah, Detroit held that honor for quite a while. Yeah, so when I see police over here helping drunk people get home, or compassionate about things, we heard a case where right here at home we could hear it sounded like domestic violence. There was a lot of crying and screaming and knocking around things and stuff. So I called the police. I told them that I don't know what's going on, but it sounds bad. And they went up there and it found out that somebody is psychologically had issues or whatever, and that yeah, they end up having an ambulance help take them to the hospital, get the help they need. But the officers were really polite and thanked me for calling, and that yeah, it's just a whole different thing here. And mind you, the police were here in less than 10 minutes from the call. In Detroit, a woman, I swear to God, these kind of stories, like, they just stick with me. A woman called the police because somebody had broken into her home. She got to her house after work, and her front door is wide open, and she's afraid to go in her house because she's not sure if they left already. And she called the police. After about 20-30 minutes, she called the news agency to say, hey, I got a story, somebody broke into my house and stuff, and I'm waiting on the cops to show up. So the news agency sent over somebody who helped her go into the house and make sure that the coast was clear. And she sat there for another 2.5 hours before the police officers ever showed up. Like, that's the efficiency that you get in the United States. Like, that's mind blowing. Yeah, 3 or 4 people shot to be a mass shooting, right? So yeah, imagine you got daily mass shootings that doesn't even count the individual 1 or 2 people shot. Yep. No, it's those kind of numbers don't even shock me at all. Honestly, they don't shock me at all. And this would explain why for years and years and years I just never wanted to watch the news, because it was nothing but these grim stories, one after another, you know. And on Detroit's southwest side, 2 people were killed, and then the next story on the east side, somebody else. Every day. Yeah. Killing events happen like Singapore's traffic jams. My wife nailed that one. That's exactly it. And mind you, we're 6 million people in the size that's double that of Detroit. So go figure. Speaking of that, it drives me insane that every one of the freeways they use initials. Like, at least they could have gone and just made the freeways like I-75, you know, numbers and stuff. But nope, they all had to have fancy names. I have no idea what the names are because I only ever hear the PIE and the CTE and all the other whatevers. So, like, they never ever on the news say the names of it. Like, not once. Makes me crazy. And you're right. It is very, very sad. It is sad to think that a country doesn't care about its people enough to actually try to protect them. But if you try to introduce any of the kind of things that like Singapore does, you know, because they look at Singapore as being like a more of a nanny state, people would lose their minds. Oh my God. Can't make, there's this bridge, the Ambassador Bridge. Look this thing up on Google. It's huge, right? Is it Ambassador? Is it the Ambassador? No. What's the one in the northern Michigan? No, I think it's that. Got the wrong bridge. Hang on. Okay, Google. What's the bridge that connects the lower peninsula of Michigan to the upper peninsula?
Mackinac Bridge on the website.
Okay, Google. Thank you. Okay, so the Mackinac Bridge. Take a look at the Mackinac Bridge and know this thing is like several miles long, right? And they recently had an ice storm, which is basically the temperatures on the ground are still freezing, right? All the metal and all that stuff is still freezing, but the air temperature is warmed up. So what's coming down is rain, but when it makes contact with anything, it turns to ice. So this big giant bridge that's got ice coating up on top of those big suspension things, and you get the right temperatures, the right wind or whatever, big chunks of ice are falling down and can smash the cars. So they blocked off the bridge for people's safety. Like, don't go on the Mackinac Bridge right now because there's, this big ice hazards and whatever. Some woman decided, screw that, she wasn't waiting, went around the barricades, whatever, went over the bridge and got in trouble. And what do the Americans say about this? It's her bridge because she pays her taxes, and it was wrongful for anybody to stop her from using her bridge. Like, are you kidding me? They're trying to save your life from giant chunks of ice smashing down on your car. But no, they don't see it like that. If you impede them from doing whatever they feel like doing, you're the baddie. Like, go figure. And this just happened last week. Yeah, I saw the screwdriver one. Like, dang. I saw that in the news. Tell you what, these little guys here, these little scrawny things, man, they're hella sharp. I can imagine, there's some gang stuff right there, man. Yeah, but we don't live in a country where people are running around trying to do stupid things, are we? I mean, seriously, people here in Singapore are so much nicer and kinder, and I walked up ahead of where my father-in-law was as we were crossing a street, and some of the little girls from a nearby school kind of ran up on him and, "Mister, do you need help?" And just people here are just genuinely kinder. Yeah, I didn't think kids around here were anything like it either, to be honest with you. But a couple little girls just out of nowhere offered him help because he's got the white cane, right? I know, and here he is crossing Yishun Avenue 4. And yeah, I don't know where they came from. They suddenly ran up on him. I kind of honestly felt like going to the school and telling the, whoever's in charge at the school, like, you guys have done the right thing with these kids because, that's pretty awesome. But for whatever reason, I took a while before I figured out which school it was from, and we never ended up actually doing it. Kind of makes you feel bad now that I think about it, because I definitely think those girls deserve some kudos. Yeah, I have I have a small range of different cutting devices. I think the ones I just pulled out before, I think these are typically embroidery. Then there's this size up, which used to have the same gold shiny whatever, but I've used these things so much that I've actually worn the whole thing off it. It's got little dragons. I don't know if you can see that, but it's got little dragons along here. They're such pretty scissors. But yeah, they used to look the same. And then I've got their larger sibling, which you can kind of tell some of the chrome from this side is gone, or whatever that is. I guess it's not really chrome, is it? Whatever, golden, whatever. If that weren't enough, I got these little travel guys that I like, because these are perfect for throwing in a backpack or whatever, because you're not going to get poked by them. It's like show and tell. Yes, there was. That's actually they caught it right across the street. So Avenue 4, right across the street from where I live, is the Yishun Park, and that's where they ended up catching the wild boar, and supposedly they humanely put it down. But yeah, the wild boar that was seen at the markets. So that little piggy went to market. That little piggy no go home. Yeah, it was pretty sad. And then you see the otters down there at Astana get personal guards to help stop the traffic so they can casually cross the street in cuteness. Piggies just have a bad public relation manager. Yeah, I was kind of curious about that myself. Like, what is wild boar like? Is it smoky or bacon? This little piggy became bakwa. I love it. Thank you. That's a good one. I used to tease mom that she was a little overweight and that if she was out in the sun too long, I would smell bakwa. And for everybody else who's not from Singapore, bakwa is essentially, imagine beef jerky, except it's made out of pork and it's not dried out nearly as much. It still retains some moisture. They can be many flavors, just like beef jerky is. It's just pork instead. Little gamier, makes sense. That's Yeah, but to say barbecued sliced pork does not give, like, you think barbecue ribs and that kind of stuff, which it's not. It is essentially just like beef jerky, just not as thoroughly cooked, not as dried out, not as chewy. Well, a little chewy. Yeah, Rainbow, you probably would like it. It's not bad. I'm not a humongous fan of it by any stretch, but honestly, if there was some around and I was, since I've been doing the dieting and stuff, I've been having days where I like suddenly just feel famished. I would not object to it, especially the spicier versions. There are some that, yeah. Lamb chops? I was thinking satay with lamb. Except for they don't call it lamb when it's satay. What do they call it? Mutton. Mutton satay. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, so that's another one. If you're again not from Singapore, satay might not be around. Imagine satay is barbecued meat on a stick. So yeah, whether it's chicken, mutton, or is it beef? The other one? Or beef, huh? Or pork. It's meat done up on a stick, and then they usually have like a sauce to dip it in with, like peanuts and stuff for the sauce. Really good stuff. Oh man. Yeah, it's sliced. It's sliced. Yeah, I'm not joking. Yeah, I'm getting kind of hungry here too. There's it's kind of fun to talk about the fact that like we definitely have different cuisine here than other places would have. We definitely have some pretty cool stuff. And to be honest, even with all the restrictions and stuff, I bet you there's some places around here where we could get 24-hour food. And yeah. Like we used to go on bike rides, middle of the night, just pull up on a place and see what they had to eat. Got some real good memories from that. Oh, Gothic, you have to learn to try some foods not well done, because honestly, if you do beef tenderloin well done, it's ruined, absolutely ruined. It has to be like medium rare is probably about as far as you want to do that, and still so you have it still being tender and awesome. Anything more than that and you've just spoiled a very expensive bunch of meat. And yeah, when I was a kid, I would have agreed with you, but now that I'm older and have tried the good stuff, oh man. I don't even do a burger more than medium anymore. Yeah. So Amanda, you know you can actually buy that stuff, that meat for doing that, and then put it through the food dehydrator, and bam, you got jerky. Oh man, that's a favorite snacky. Yeah, for me when I was a kid, I couldn't just the looking at meat being all pink and yeah, I would have freaked out. But somewhere along the line, somebody clued me into the fact that there are just some cuts of meat that like stewing beef, that's awesome. That's perfect. Tenderloin? No, you ruin it. Absolutely ruin it. Yeah, I'm totally getting hungry now. You guys are killing me over here. Well, Rainbow, you guys have Indian food and stuff over there, right? Do you guys get like Prada? And like... Oh, really? Because we have these things, it's like a flat bread, like no fluff to it, and you can have egg and onion and cheese inside, and then it dips in curry, and that I could go for that right now. I could go for McDonald's. Wait, when does McDonald's breakfast start? God damn. Actually, if you like a beef stew, the handlebar, which is what area now? Towards the south. Huh? Faber? Yeah, around the Faber area, there's a place called Handlebar. They have absolutely the best beef stew. The meat just melts in your mouth. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, Rainbow, apparently you guys have more northern Indian stuff, which, mind you, I love that. Amanda, if you're right, I am totally having a egg muffin. Mandy's going for her phone. No, ours is a 24-hour. It's the one at Yishun Park. It's literally just across the street. No, breakfast starts at 4, she says. No egg muffins. Ah. I'm not a huge McDonald's fan. Honestly, now that Burger King's got the plant-based Whopper, like that's kind of like my new go-to. But the McDonald's is literally just across the street. I mean, it's just... I can't quite throw a rock from the house to get at it, but I could probably bounce a golf ball that way. Yeah, speaking of McDonald's, I don't know if you guys ever heard this before, but no country with the McDonald's ever attacked another country with McDonald's. Like that was like a long standing, because the how civilized you had to be in order to even have McDonald's in your country was a thing, all up until this whole new Russian invasion. Like totally ruined the whole premise of what it meant to be a stable country. So yeah, go figure. Yeah, so we have a McDonald's across the street from us, so that's pretty close. Then there's another one at where like the bus interchange is, at North Point. So there's another one. That one is also technically walking distance. I mean, if my wife can walk it, it's not that far. So there's that. Where's the? And yeah, there's two other ones. There's one over in the 800 blocks. That's when I first 8 North and ours. Yeah, so there's three. There's three McDonald's all within walking distance from our house. Yeah, and McDonald's pulled out of Russia, so good for them. Like that's. Yeah, you would think so, but it's real easy to get tired of McDonald's. Like it's not something I would necessarily. I don't think we do it more than once a month. And besides, there's like all these other coffee shops and stuff nearby. So, you know, I can go and have Indian food instead, or I can have Thailand food or Hong Kong food or wow, you win. Rainbow wins. Within biking distance, I would say we have the Subway. Well, KFC's, there's a new KFC just opened, a Burger King just opened. Those are really close. Burger King, McDonald's, KFC, Subway, 2 Subways, 3 McDonald's, 2 Burger Kings, and a lot of local food. What's we have one or more of the sushi places, like where you have the little conveyor belt that brings the food around. I love those things. Trying to think what else is over there. Yeah, we have a lot of food in the near vicinity. I can't even count the number of bakeries that are around us. Yeah, I'm not supposed to be having the sweets, to be honest. I know that I'm not, but oh, I know what the other one was. We have a Little Caesars that opened up not far away. Like that's more like bicycling distance. But like we used to go for a bike ride over there all the time because there was a 24-hour grocery store. So we would pick up stuff for making from the juicer. We had a power juicer, so we'd pick up like pomegranates and stuff. Can you have to be there in person to get it? Okay. It kind of looks like after we finish this little row here, that I'm going to be going to help my wife go get ice creams. I'm starving. All this talk has got me, so I'm starving.
Yeah. No, bad idea. Saturday night.
Okay, we'll find some of these. Burger King still got takeouts? Yeah, I kind of like Big K. I really do. Especially, like I said, now that they've got the plant-based burgers. Oh my god. Those are so yummy. I'm going to finish this row. I am determined. I want to leave off in the same place I left off last week with this top section being done. Like if you look at like the old thing, right? Like that top area, like that, we just finished that off, and then whoops. Now I'm gonna be one more over, so that's gonna be really cool. I'm really hoping.
Coffee bean.
Ooh, coffee bean. The coffee bean and tea leaf. Do you guys have those where you're at? Oh my god, they got some good stuff. Oh yes, please. Either semichi or
Cheese pretzel.
okay, I want something bigger. I'm really hungry. You can get 2 of those, and then I'll do that plus whatever else. Yeah. Oh, Amanda likes a coffee bean too. All right. Not bad. Not bad. It's coffee bean and tea leaf. It's a place that sells little, yeah, it's like a Starbucks. Oh, I could do a breakfast. Okay. Beans in it. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got here, kids. We got an eggs Benedict. We got a turkey ham and cheese croissant. Ooh, that sounds yummy. Break o day, turkey ham, scrambled eggs, patini, and bread. An egg club sandwich. Turkey ham, eggs, cheddar cheese, and whatever kind of bread that is. Chicken patty, turkey ham, scrambled eggs, and patini bread. Ooh. I think I'm having a breakfast platter. Okay.
Breakfast platter, you said? Breakfast
Yes,
platter?
yes, please. So yeah. Yeah, they're really good. What's the cold coffee thing I like? Is that the original vanilla? Or is the other one that's the original?
No, we're not.
Okay. Okay, so Kopi Bean Original Vanilla, which is like this frothy, icy thing that... Oh. It's so good on hot days. You have no idea. Yeah, these got the good stuffs. Yes, please.
Really?
Sure. I'll zonk it out anyways. But
I think comes with a drink.
oh,
Would it survive with a fridge?
even if it's like the darker chocolate kind of mochas, you can't do? Or just because of the sweets and stuff? Yeah, I too wish to know. Oh, right. Yeah, that is kind of tragic. Especially since most processed things all have sugar in it. Cool. Okay, Amanda, good night. Yeah, I'm basically... This is the last of the diamonds for this section before I have to move the beast. So... Not much more going on here. I am actually really pleased with the amount of work that's been achieved here tonight. And I have to thank everybody for coming out and hanging out with me during this. I don't know why, while having the stream and why talking to you guys gets me more focused on my work than me sitting here by myself, but it really does. And so thank you for all that. Yeah, I'm kind of secretly wondering where Amanda's not going off to bed. She's going off to whatever food thing is nearby. That's awesome. Good. Glad that you'll be there. And yes, a reminder, Gothic, tomorrow, if you want, come hang out with us. Yeah, and sometimes I can make it work with like watching a video or whatever, but then there are times where I put on videos and I can't concentrate. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is an ADHD thing. Somehow you guys make it easier, so I appreciate that. Yeah, it has been. It does feel like it's been forever. Like April just was weird, or not. March was weird. Now we're in April already. Yeah. Well, if you can, that'd be awesome. We'd love to see you there. I kind of like the idea that, it turns the cameras on other people and I get to see what you guys are working on. So that's kind of makes it fun for me as well. Well, as long as you keep the camera up here, you can get away with just having a shirt. So we won't judge. Used to have that a lot on the hotter days of summer. I used to do pretty much everything in almost nothing. So yeah, I get it. I can attest to that. I was there. In bed next door, that is. Oh, I'm weird about laundry. Laundry is Mondays and Thursdays, and very little can disrupt that whole pattern. I like. We won't be judgmental about ketchup stains on tops, I promise. I bet you if you hadn't said anything, I bet you we would never notice. Honestly, the things that people think are noticeable, I just assume it's part of the art. Oh, I feel special now. My shirt's kept outside special. Nice. I can't believe how much progress was done. Like seriously, the amount of space here filled in just tonight, pretty incredible. I can't believe that nobody actually used the magic 8 ball all night long, not once. Yes, Gothic, I can totally relate to that. If I'm mentally not with it or whatever, like if I'm having my depression days, I can't bring myself to shave. And if it carries on for too long, I have something that's very physical that can be seen, like ooh. I don't know why, but I think that's about the spiciest answer it could have given. But yeah, the mental state and dealing with others and stuff, yeah, I totally, that's relatable. Ooh. Oh goodness. Uh, well, there we have it, guys. I have finished this whole segment. The bot is a tease. Yeah, he is. That is spectacular. You guys are too awesome. You guys are brilliant. Okay, let's do this. Before I go, I have to thank again, as always, my Patreon supporters who make all of this stuff possible. You guys are the best, and thank you. And you know, we're still early in the month. If anybody wants to join up and help support the channel, get your name on the little scrolly thing there, that'd be awesome. We'll be back next week, April 9th. Hopefully with as much progress as what we've done. This section down here, so we are at 24 tassels and some up here, and then we'll see. I don't want to jinx myself by saying that that's my aim and then not make it. So we'll see where we get. And yeah, try to, if you guys have any good questions or something, hit me up, and then that way I can try to have them on the board ready for next week. All right, so yeah, got tomorrow is the Patreon hangout, and technically if somebody were to sign up for Patreon tonight, I guess you would have time to join in tomorrow. So if you're watching this video late, then yeah, it's the April 3rd is the patron hangout. So there's that. All right, that's it for tonight. Thank you guys again. You guys, seriously, that was a big chunk. That's more than I've been doing on most weekdays, so I really appreciate it. All right, so don't get your strings in a bunch, and I'll see you next week. Take care.